Nobody is coming to save you, and God will never fail you. Today I want to share with you the real truth about support. I need you to hear me clearly. If you're waiting on support to start, you're already behind. Because the truth is, nobody is coming to save you. Not your friends, not your spouse, not your family, your co-workers, your followers, not even the people who said I got you. And I know that can sound painful, but it can also be the most freeing truth you'll ever learn. Because once you accept that, you stop waiting, you stop begging, you stop explaining, and you start building. And today I'm not just talking about surface level support. We're going to talk about the kind of support that can either make you bitter or make you better. And today I'm going to show you why people don't support you at first, what real support looks like versus fake support, how to stop fearing being unsupported, why most support comes from strangers, and how to depend on God when people disappoint you. Because if you're chosen, you're going to experience seasons where it feels like you're doing it alone. But I promise you, alone doesn't mean you're abandoned. God is always present. I'm going to tell you something that changed my life. Support is not a requirement to succeed, it's a bonus. Support feels good, but it's not always necessary. Because some of you are waiting on cheers when God gave you a calling. Some of you are waiting on validation when God already gave you the vision. And the quicker you understand this, the quicker you level up. You don't need people to believe in you. You need to believe in you. That's why you have to step into that mindset of controlling what you can control. I can't control who claps. I can't control who supports me. I can't control any of that. But I can control my discipline, my work ethic, my consistency, my faith, my habits, my character. And a real man learns this early. If nobody shows up for you, you still have to show up for yourself every day. And another powerful realization I had to learn is that God is the only support that'll never fail. I'm not telling you this to become heartless. I'm not even telling you to cut anybody off. I'm telling you this because you need to stop putting people in a position that only God can handle. Because humans are humans. Humans get distracted. Humans get jealous. Humans get tired. Humans sometimes forget and they might switch up. But God doesn't fail. And that's why Jeremiah chapter 29 verses 11 is so powerful. For I know the plans I have for you. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you hope and a future. So even when your support looks like it disappeared, your future didn't. Even when the crowd got quiet, God didn't. Even when it felt like nobody was holding you up, God was still there. And you have to learn how to lean on that, because sometimes God moves support so you can stop depending on people and start depending on your purpose. God will let people disappoint you so you stop worshiping their approval. And here's another truth. Support won't always come from the people you love. Sometimes it's the people closest to you that won't understand you because they remember the old version of you. They remember the version of you that was quiet. They remember the version of you that didn't dream big or have that growth mindset. So when you start moving different, they get uncomfortable. And here's something that most people don't realize. Your biggest supporters are often strangers because they meet you as your future self. They don't know your past. They don't know what you used to be. All they see is who you're becoming. And that's why support often comes from people who haven't met you yet. People you served, people you helped, people you provided value to. The people who watched you struggle won't always clap when you start shining. And that's okay, because you're not building for claps. You're building for calling. And I'll even give you a personal example. When I graduated high school, I had no college acceptance letters. So you know what that meant. Most people didn't believe in me. Nobody really supported me, and I don't blame them. Because to them, I didn't have proof yet. But I remember having just a few dollars to my name. And I remember telling my family and friends that I'm not going to the military. I'm not going to work at a warehouse, and I'm betting on myself. I was going to go to college, that I'm going to be an entrepreneur. I'm going to be a successful leader in business and finance. And it's safe to say that I have been a man of my word thus far. And the truth is, people didn't jump on board when I said it. They jumped on board when they saw it. When I started applying myself, when I started reaching out to schools, when I finally got accepted, that is when I started seeing support. Then I started making the dean's list. I became a student leader. I was getting recognized on and off campus. I then continued to graduate with an associate's and bachelor's in business with honors. And that is when people started saying, man, I always knew you could do it. And I'm not even mad at them, because this is something you need to understand. Some people don't support potential, they support progress. People don't ignore you because you're incapable, they ignore you because you haven't proven it yet. And let's talk about why this happens. Because the reason why people don't support you at the beginning is because they don't want to risk believing in something that might fail. Because if they support you and you quit, they feel embarrassed, so they stay quiet. They watch from a distance. They act like they're waiting, but they're really doubting. And some people don't support early because your dream reminds them of what they gave up on. And it triggers them. They'll start saying things like, be realistic, or that's too risky. What's your backup plan? Or you sure you can do that? And here's the translation. You're doing something I was afraid to do. And it's not always hate. Sometimes it's fear, sometimes it's projection, sometimes it's insecurity. But here's the win. Momentum silences doubt. Momentum makes people pay attention. Momentum makes people say, that person is serious. So don't waste energy being mad. Use that energy to build something. When you're building in silence, people think you're losing, but you're really becoming something greater. And now we're going to go into what real support versus fake support looks like. Real support looks like they like your post consistently. They comment something meaningful. They share your content without you having to ask. They may buy from your stand store, your link tree, or your affiliate link. They may speak your name in rooms you're not in. They encourage you constantly. They check on your progress and not your results. They always asking how you're feeling. They checking on your mental. They asking about the next video. Fake support looks like they may say, I'm proud of you, but never interact. They watch your stories and your posts, but they never engage. They clap when it's popular, but disappear when it's quiet. They support you publicly, but compete with you privately. They only show love when you're winning. Fake support is loud in public and silent in private. And listen, I'm not telling you to hate them. I'm telling you to recognize it so you don't keep expecting fruit from a tree that never produced it. Now let's talk about why support is free. Support is not expensive. Support takes seconds. If your friend has a business, you don't have to spend money to support them. You can support your peers by liking their posts, commenting I'm proud of you, or commenting something that's engaging, sharing their videos, or reposting their flyers. You can tag somebody who may need it. You can leave a positive review. You can send their page to many people. You can put their pages and their contents in your Discords. You can even follow and subscribe to their content. That's it. It's the little things. And do you know why that matters? Because platforms are literally built on engagement. When you like and comment, you're telling the algorithm to push this to more people. So when you say you support somebody but you can't double tap, that's not real support. If it costs you nothing and you still won't do it, it was never love. It takes 3 seconds to hit the like button, drop a comment, subscribe to the channel, because that's free support. That takes less time than scrolling, and it helps me reach more people who needs to hear this message. As a matter of fact, comment support if you're logged in. Now let's talk about the universal law of support. Because one of the realest laws in life is what you give out comes back to you, and not always from the same person, but from the same energy. And even science backs this up. When you support people, you build trust, you build connections, you build community, and community multiplies results. Because we're wired for belonging. People perform better when they feel encouraged. Athletes perform better with fans. Students do better with positive reinforcement. And humans flourish when they're believed in. And I'm saying this to say, you cannot demand support while refusing to be supportive. If you want the harvest, you have to plant the seed. So check your own heart. Have you been supporting people, or have you only been consuming? If you don't feel supported, don't trip. That might be a sign you're more capable than you realize, because God might be training you for something bigger. Think about it like this. If you can only be consistent when people clap for you, then you're not really disciplined, you're performative. But if you can stay consistent without an applause, you're becoming unstoppable. And if you can't stay focused with no support, imagine what happens when that support leaves you or finally comes. You're being built, you're being strengthened, and you're being prepared for pressure. Because the higher you go, the less people understand you. And sometimes your support feels low because your assignment is high. And I'll give you another real example. When I quit my corporate job, people I knew, people I loved, they told me they'll support me. They said, I got you, whatever you need. But when it came time to actually show it, they weren't there. And that was a wake-up call for me. Not because I hated them, but because it reminded me nobody is coming to save me but me. And in those moments, I had to forgive. I had to release expectations. I had to stop keeping score, and I also had to get back focused on what really mattered. That was my purpose, my mission, and my relationship with God. But I had to learn something. Views don't equal value, and silence doesn't equal failure. Because sometimes people are entertained, but they're selfish. Sometimes people are inspired, but they're lazy. And sometimes people support quietly, but you won't see it until later. So I stopped trying to control people and I started controlling my output. Because you cannot stop your own momentum just because people aren't responding the way you want them to. The moment you need an applause to keep going, you are already giving people control over your destiny. Now let's end strong. If you're afraid of having no support, here's how you overcome that fear. First, I want you to build self-trust. Keep promises to yourself, because when you trust yourself, you stop looking for people to rescue you. Second, give God the weight that you've been giving people. I need you to keep praying, keep moving, and keep trusting that God can carry the load, and count it all joy. 3, I want you to detach from outcomes and attach to obedience. Your job is to plant, and God's job is to grow. And 4, stop expecting understanding from people who aren't called to your journey. Everybody can't go. Everybody won't get it, and that's fine, because your dream wasn't given to them. Stop begging people to support a vision God didn't give them. If you've been hurt by lack of support, I want you to breathe for a second and let this go. Not for them, but for you. Because bitterness will slow you down and expectations will drain you. But forgiveness sets you free. And I want you to forgive yourself too, for waiting too long, for doubting yourself, for thinking you needed permission, but you didn't. You just needed a reminder. Nobody is coming to save you, but God will guide you, and you will build it anyway. So keep thriving, keep striving, and keep showing up, even when it gets quiet, because one day, the same person who didn't support you will be asking you how you did it. This is JayyThrive. Thank y'all for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next one.